All right, everyone. So I want to share with you, I want to begin our practice with a quote that I have found to be beautiful and inspiring by the great dancer Martha Graham. And what she said was, and she was speaking mainly to artists and creative people, but I think this can apply to all of us, anyone who is alive. She said, there is a vitality, a life force, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium, and it will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is or how valuable it is, nor how it compares to other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours clearly and directly and to keep the channel open. You do not have to believe in yourself or your work. You have to keep open and aware directly to the urges that motivate you. Keep the channel open. And so, prana, if we take that, what she said, and apply it to our yoga practice, we're keeping the channel of our own being open to prana, which is the life force in us. And it's also the life force in every living being, human and non-human, in plants and animals, even in the sunlight. Anything that has energy. So there's the prana that moves through us, but there's also the greater life force that is the essential creative energy of the universe. Some people call that God. You could call it just universal energy or universal prana. And it shows up through us, as us, in everything that we do. So divine creativity or creation is continually unfolding through us. And our work as we are embodied beings is to open up to that life force, to keep the channel of our being open so that we can love and serve in the world in all the beautiful, unique ways that we do. Come into your yogic seat and lengthen up through your spine. Roll the shoulders back and down and spread the heart wide open. Take a deep breath, fill all the way up into the chest. Pause at the top and let that life force, let that prana, as that river of grace, come to fill you up and invite it into every cell and every energy channel of your subtle body. Exhale, release with a sigh, and let anything soften and release that needs to soften in the body. And again, another deep breath in. Filling all the way up into the chest. Pause at the top. Feel every cell light up with life force. Every in-breath an opening of the channel so that the river of grace may flow through you. The grace that is aliveness. An exhale with a sigh, letting go of anything that is a distraction in the mind. Any thoughts that are rattling around in your consciousness. And another deep, long breath in, pause at the top and hold. As you continue to lengthen up through the crown of your head and root down through your tailbone into the earth. And let go with a sigh, offer anything out in the heart, in the emotional realm, where you may need to soften and let go. May the light of love glow in me. breath of spirit blow in me. May the river of grace flow through me. May God's work unfold through me. Let your heart open a little wider. Let your palms turn up. Let the backs of the hands rest on the thighs, so that we come into that gesture of receptivity. Each deep breath be an opening to that river of grace that is prana. May the light of love glow in me. May the breath of spirit blow in me. May the river of grace flow through me. May God's work unfold through me. And once again, refreshing your posture and committing to a long spine. It is said in an ancient yogic text that there is a current of love energy that runs through you from the earth beneath you to the sky above, and that your spine is the riverbed. And that riverbed is known as the Shoshanna, the central channel through which your life force flows. And it runs along the spinal column, from root to crown. And all of the chakra points, those vital energy centers that are responsible for all of the different levels of consciousness that we move through as human beings, are located along that sacred riverbed that runs through you energetically. And the way that we keep the channel open is through bringing the breath and the attention and the physical posture and movement together into one flow. So let the breath that moves through you right now be a prayer, be a meditation, opening with every in-breath to that river of grace. Every in-breath filling up. You can call it God, you can call it divine energy, you can call it universal prana. Open up and drink it in, savor it as the nectar of aliveness. And every exhale is an offering and a letting go of what doesn't need to be here. Whatever might be an impediment to that flow, and allowing your mind to dissolve into that flow of that river of grace. Let the breath be long and slow and deep, with a gentle ujjayi breath brushing the back of the throat, little contraction. May the light of love glow in me. May the breath of spirit blow in me. May the river of grace flow through me. May God's work unfold through me. And honoring that universal life force, the great river that flows through everything. Bring the hands together in front of the heart, and let's join our voices in the sound of Om. Deep in-breath. hands come down back to your thighs, and just for a moment in the stillness, notice what's come alive for you, in you. If you can become aware of the tingling and the pulsing of that river of grace that flows through you. That is your essential aliveness. And when you're ready, please remove the cushion that you're sitting on and come forward into your child's pose on your mat. Reach the hands forward and let your sitting bones soften back toward your heels. Keeping the breath long and slow, even and deep. And if at this time, in this physical gesture of offering, you have any dedication or prayer or offering that you'd like to make, please take this as a moment to do so, bringing that into your mind and heart. And then rising up into your table pose, slowly begin to invite in cat-cow movements of the spine. Start at the tailbone with each of these movements. So as you begin by tilting the pelvis back, then the belly drops, then the heart spreads, then the head lifts and looks up. And we're going to begin the tuck, the exhale, the cat stretch with the tailbone tucking, with the navel pulling in, with rounding the upper back as you press the floor away and bringing the chin to the chest. The exhale completes as you squeeze out all the breath as you press into the mat. So see if you can begin each of your cat and cow movements from your tailbone, lifting on the inhale and tucking on the exhale. And if it feels good to come up on fingertips on that exhale, you can do that, getting a little bit more lift. Maybe you want to curl the toes under to get a little stretch in the bottoms of the feet. And can you keep an awareness as we move through the postures that every breath is an opening to that river of life energy. And every out-breath is an offering of yourself into that. Come to neutral spine after the next round of cat-cow. Bring the hands forward just a few inches. You can find some circles of the hips. So in addition to your spine being that riverbed, that main highway through which life force flows, extending off of that central channel is a whole network of rivers or energy channels we call nadis, and there's 72,000 of them, according to the yogic anatomy, that make up your subtle body. Circle the other way if you haven't already switched. Breathing deeply, inviting that entire network of energy channels to enliven and light up with life force. And then coming to center,
Hands spread wide, draw the heart forward, take a little bend in the elbows and come on to the thighs, slowly bringing the heels close to the buttocks. Feel the whole front of the torso stretch. Soften the shoulders down, spread the heart, and let the tippy toes touch so you come into your seal pose. Reach up with the crown of the head, wide in the chest. And as you come onto the thighs, you get a little bit more arch in the back. Breathe in this delicious breath as the whole solar plexus lights up as it expands and opens. Exhale, slowly press away into a cat stretch and sink back into your child's pose. See if coming into child feels any different now than it did at the beginning when you first came into it. Another deep breath in, and then release, let go. And then rising back up into table pose. Let your hips stay over your knees. We're going to slide the hands forward into what's known as the puppy stretch or the heart-melting pose. And you can either have forehead down or chin down here, whatever feels more available to you or juicier to you. What feels like an appropriate stretch, so take your own version of it. As the pose suggests, let the heart melt down. See if you can let your shoulder blades, that place between the shoulder blades, release and draw the navel in and up slightly. Sit bones reach back, hands reach forward. Just finding more length across the back of the torso, shoulders, and arms. See if you can take your armpits and turn them a little bit toward one another so you find a little bit more expansion through the upper back. And then lower the elbows down and let your arms draw the body forward, the heart forward, so you come gently into your Sphinx pose. Checking your alignment, making sure your upper arms are straight up and down and the shoulders are aligned right over the elbows. Energize the legs and press down into the mat through the front of the pelvis. Pubic bone roots down. Feet reach back. Quadriceps engage, kneecaps lift. Toes point back and press down into the mat. Press the elbows down and draw the shoulders back a little bit. Feel this Sphinx pose as energized and alive. And then if you want here, you can also bend your knees and bring the heels close to the buttocks, coming into a combination seal pose and Sphinx. And either stay here or press down and forward into the hands to straighten the elbows, a little bit or all the way. Keep the heart drawing forward. You can look up a little bit more. Releasing with a long, slow exhale. Lower the elbows down, lower the feet down. And slide the hands. So you're going to use your back muscles here to engage so that you stay lifted as your hands slide under the shoulders. So you can take it into a low cobra. Maybe it feels available to you to do a full cobra here, same energized legs. And then exhale, release, roll down, and press up through that cat stretch. It's important that we pulse the spine in complementary ways. So you're taking that cat stretch after doing the deep bend, deep back bend. We take it into this forward bend and back to child. So here I'm going to invite you to take that into a flow, and I'm going to give you a couple of options here. Option one, which is a little bit gentler version, is rising up into table and sliding the hands forward into that puppy stretch. Lower the elbows down, transition to Sphinx, just like we just did. But here you're going to bring the hands back right under the shoulders and take it into either low or full cobra and press away into cat, landing in child. I'm doing a few of those just to continue to pulse the spine in those forward and back bend movements. So table to puppy to Sphinx, to Cobra, to cat and child. And if you want to take it into something a little more challenging, also a lovely way to warm up the spine, is you can do that sliding through, imagining you're pressing a ping pong ball with your nose right through your hands, the elbows wide, and you're going to slide your torso, your heart, and your chin along the mat. It's like the nose is pushing that ball right off the mat, and you're going to come right into Cobra and press away into child. So hands extended, you're going to press that ball, roll it right through the hands. Now here, the thing is you want to, once the heart comes between the hands, then you draw your elbows in so they're in the proper position for Cobra, rising up. So take a couple of more of those, maybe 3 more rounds of that at your own pace, either doing the Cobra, the sliding through and Cobra rolls, or doing the puppy stretch to Sphinx to Cobra. So take it at your own pace. I'm going to do a couple more Cobra rolls because I enjoy that one. But you listen to what your body wants and needs right now. And after you've done 3 of those, coming back into your table pose. Once again, positioning knees underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders. And slide the left leg back. Curl the toes under and press out through the heel. As you give a little push down and forward into the hands, you'll feel that calf light up and come alive on the left leg. Bottom of the foot stretches. And then bringing the shoulders once again over the wrists so arm bones stack. I'm going to pivot on the right knee so that your foot turns at a 90-degree angle and you can open up into a half circle. So now you're going to stack the left hip on top of the right, anchor down through the outer edge of your left foot, which is parallel to the short end of your mat, and grow long through that whole left side of your body. It often helps to come up on fingertips or fists here, so you have a little bit more room to press the hips forward. Because as you grow a little bit longer, from outer edge of that foot to the fingertips, I'm going to invite you to take those 3 big sweeping circles that turn the whole torso open to the sky. So not just a rotating of the arm in the shoulder, but letting it sweep the whole torso open so that your heart and your belly and your hips turn skyward, as well as your direction of your gaze. And as you look up, you'll see that golden cord hanging down, so grab onto it and slowly, slowly let it draw you up to come into your gate pose. As you come into gate pose, the right hand is going to lift straight up. I'm not mirroring you here. And reach over past the short end of your mat. And you'll externally rotate that left leg so the knee points straight up. Open and expand through the ribs on the right side. Reach long. And exhale, float that right hand down back into your half circle, grow long. This time, place the tippy toes, just the tips of the left toes on the mat. Reach the fingers long without scrunching the shoulder up on the left side. Firm your core and invite your whole left side to grow an inch longer. Big inhale, and then exhale. Come back into the table with your left leg extended. So now you're going to repivot that right foot so it points straight behind you. We're going to take this into a twist. As you press into the left palm, the right hand rises up, reaching to the sky. We're going to take that into a flow. Inhale, reach long to the sky with your right hand, stacking your right shoulder on top of your left. Exhale, thread it through as you bend the left elbow, reaching through, tucking right shoulder under, like a thread the needle. Inhale, open up, take that twist, heart to the right, long and wide. Exhale, thread it through, tuck it under. Inhale, open up, Twist to the right, exhale, tuck it under, twist to the left. Now we're opening up on the twist to the right here, and we're going to hold. So see if you can grow long from your back heel, your left heel, to the crown of your head, and long from your bottom hand to your upper hand. Once you have that lengthened space, bring the right hand back behind you, either back of the hand to the left hip, or draw your hand, the back of the hand, in front of your belly so their fingertips reach toward your navel. Rolling the shoulder open, look up at the sky, taking it into a bind. Big breath in, and then exhale, release, unwind. You're still in that table with the left leg extended. And then reach the left leg straight back behind you. Now we come into table balance. See if you can find that one long line through the back body. Point the toes back behind you, and then reach the right hand forward. So you're finding that long diagonal line from your left toes to your right fingertips. See if you can keep everything in one parallel line to the floor. And then exhale, forearm to thigh, squeeze out all the breath, chin to chest. Navel draws in. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. Inhale, expand, growing long. Exhale, contract. Inhale, expand. And then bend the left knee, and if you can, reach back, opposite hand to foot. Right hand grabs left foot, and take it into a bow kick, lifting the knee higher than the hip. Or both hands can come down, and you can just press your foot up to the sky if reaching your foot isn't available. Look up at the sky, arch the back, and release. Take it into a cat stretch, and sink it back to child. If you need to roll your wrists, find any wiggle waggles that release that sequence, please do that before we take it on the other side. And then rising back up into table pose, slide the right leg back, press out through the heel, and down and forward into the hands so that you feel that stretch through the calf and through the sole of the foot. And coming back with the arm bones stacked, you can draw that the left foot into a 90-degree angle as you open up and come into your half circle. Remember, this time, the first half circle, you're going to have the outer edge of your foot, your right foot, and this time parallel to the short end of your mat. Grow long, come up on fingertips or fists or even a block. Press the hips forward and take 3 big sweeping circles along with that right arm. Turn your heart and your eyes and your belly and your hips to the sky. Lots of breath here. And that golden cord is hanging down. So grab hold of it and let it draw you up nice and slow. Notice how your core really lights up here and engages. And pivot on the extended leg. So the hip is externally rotated, that thigh is externally rotated, and open your gate pose. On the other side, press the hips forward. So we don't want the gate pose to be jackknifed at the hips. You want to keep your hip pointers drawing toward what is the right side of your mat, which was when you were facing the front of it. And exhale, float that left hand down. Once again, take that long half circle pose, this time tippy toes to fingertips. And let that core lift support your spine as you grow a little bit longer. And come back into Table with the right leg extended. And we'll take it into that twist. So the left arm rises to the sky as you stack the left shoulder on top of the right. Keep that back leg energized so the knee crease, the back of the knee, is powered up and lifting to the sky. Exhale, tuck it under, thread the needle, and reach through. Inhale, open up into your twist. To the left. Exhale, tuck it under, reach through to the right. One more time. Open up. Tuck it under, reach as the right elbow bends. And one more time to open up to the left. And you can let your right hip drop a little bit more. So you bring that twist all the way down the spine. And then take it into your bind, reaching the upper hand back behind you, maybe sliding your fingertips toward the navel. Let it be an invitation to roll the shoulder open and look up at the sky. Big inhale. What's happening in your right leg? Keep it powered up. Press out through the heel. And then release and come right into your table balance, reaching your right toes back, left fingers forward, and really notice what needs to light up and engage in the core here to support you so you don't have a sway back and dropping the belly down and have an arch in the back. You want a flat back here. Grow long on the inhale. Exhale, forearm to thigh, chin to chest. Inhale, grow long. Exhale, contract. Inhale, grow long. Exhale, contract. Once again, lengthen out. And then taking your opposite hand to foot bow kick, or the modification here with both hands down. Look up. Breathe in. And release. A nice cat stretch is a complementary movement. And back into your cow tilt. Fingers spread wide, toes curl under, and press back into your downward facing dog. If you need to take child for a moment, please do. Otherwise, those of you who are raring to go with downward facing dog, take a few moments to walk it out slowly. Reaching the heart down toward that place between the feet. Navel lifts in, up, sacrum lifts. Fingers and thumbs energize as they reach into the earth. Here, reconnecting with that river of grace that is life energy that you invite in, drinking it in as sweet nectar with each in-breath. Each out-breath, dissolving into that river of grace. When you're ready, come forward into your high plank, top of a push-up, or knee-down plank if that's more appropriate for you. Shoulders over wrists, firm core, flat back. And lower down knees, chest and chin. Slowly the heart comes between the thumbs. Elbows draw in. Take it into a cobra of your choice. So baby cobra or full cobra. Planting the tops of the feet down. Exhale, release. And press up through plank or table and meet in down dog. And remember when we were in the puppy stretch and I invited you to turn the armpits slightly toward one another. See if you can do that here too without moving your hands. So it's just a rotation outward of the upper arms. It's a subtle movement, but it creates a little space in the upper back. We're going to step it through with the right foot. So those of you who'd like to take a three-legged dog, sweep it high with the toes right back behind you, one long line. And then with mindfulness and gracefulness, step through into a low lunge. Slide the left knee back, square the hips, soften the shoulders, And inner thighs engaged, sweep forward and up into your kneeling warrior. Tuck the tail, reach up through the fingertips, like that gesture of opening the hands to the sky is an inviting in that life force, keeping the channel open. Bring the hands back behind you and interlace. And the next deep breath in, invite that river of grace to flow right into your heart center, the Anahata heart chakra. Squeeze the shoulder blades toward the center. And release, frame that front foot. Step back into your plank pose. Flow through vinyasa as you choose. Some of you may want to take your chaturanga to upward facing dog. And come into downward facing dog. Take another long, slow, deep breath here in your downward facing dog. Letting the low belly press toward the tops of the thighs to get the deeper pelvic tilt. And then we're going to step through with the left foot. If you'd like to take three-legged dog, if you did it on the other side, you can take it here. And step it through, lowering the right knee down. Softening shoulders, lengthening from tailbone to the top of the head. Inner thighs engaged toward the center, sweep forward and up. Inviting in that river of prana into every nook and cranny of your being. All those nadis, all those 72,000 energy channels. On the exhale, hands clasped behind you, and on the inhale, open the heart. Drawing that prana right directly into your heart center. Big breath. And release. Frame that front foot. And step back into plank pose. Flow through one more time, connecting vinyasa. Your choice. Meeting in downward facing dog. Take the feet and either hop or walk the feet between the hands. Come up on fingertips. Take it into forward bend. See if you can get a little bit more length in the neck as you find some movement to the head. Yes, no, maybe. Let the belly, the whole front of the torso fold in a little closer to the thighs, maybe taking your hands behind your calves and inviting a little more snug connection as the nose comes between the knees or a little bit below the knees. Lift the sacrum high. And then release the hands, soften the knees, and roll up. We'll stack one bone on top of another. Slowly coming to standing. Sometimes there's a little lightheadedness, so take it slow. Arms reach and rise. I'll face you here for a moment. Letting those deep, sweeping sun breaths be like a gesture. Again, each in-breath, an opening to the river of grace. Exhale, diving in and surrendering into it. To that which breathes you, to that which moves you. Asana is prayer. Hands come together and meet at the heart center. And just pause and feel what's alive in you. So I thought what I would do this morning, the reason I wanted you to have your blocks, is because I would like to go over with you how we can practice Chaturanga, which is not appropriate for everybody. Some of you may have shoulder issues or just weakness in your, not enough strength yet in your upper body to be able to comfortably engage in Chaturanga, which is the low push-up. But because I often say to people, you can do knees, chest, chin, or Chaturanga, I just want to give a little mini tutorial on how we can practice and get a little more comfortable with bringing the alignment of Chaturanga into our bodies for those of you who want to practice it and get stronger at it. And the alignment is very important because if you let your torso, let me just do a little demonstration here, and then I'll show you how we can use the blocks. Chaturanga is a strong pose. This is high push-up, high plank. Chaturanga is low push-up, where you bend the elbows and bring the upper arms in line with the rib cage. You don't want to have your rib cage sinking below. You want to have your, and again, this is a hard one to hold for any length of time. You want to have your rib cage right in line with the upper arms, and then just about a 90-degree angle of the arms. So you have a nice wide base of support with your palms. Firm core, pressing out through the heel, and then lowering down, keeping that body in one long line with elbows drawn in toward the ribs. And then, to transition to upward facing dog, you don't let your body come down to the mat. You just pull, press into the hands, straighten the arms, and pull the shoulders back, pull the heart forward. If you can see, my thighs, my knees, my lower legs are lifted, my pelvis is lifted. My heart is in front of my upper arms. So everybody just watch here rather than trying it, because we're going to try it together. So this is your upward facing dog. You want the heart to be in front of the upper arms, so you get that deep back bend, lifting crown of the head to the sky, firing up the legs, but the only places that are touching are the tops of the feet and the palms. And then you roll as you, two things are happening. You're pushing down and forward into the hands, rolling over the toes, and that brings you to downward facing dog. So, I'm going to demonstrate how we put that together in a vinyasa flow as a connecting vinyasa. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga, body in one long line. Inhale, upward facing dog without letting the legs or hips touch. Exhale, roll over the feet, press forward with the hands. So you come into your down dog. And again, this is an option, not for everyone. Some people will need to do knees, chest, chin. But even that, knees, chest, chin, the lowering down of the upper body with the arms, hands under the shoulders, can be a strong practice, a challenging practice. And of course, child is always an option. So what I'd like you to do is to take your blocks, and I'm going to demonstrate how we can practice Chaturanga. And just about anyone can do this with the blocks, just to practice the alignment in your body. So depending on how big you are, if you were a larger person than me, you might want to have your block on the medium setting, upright like this. One going the long way. Actually, I'm doing it a little bit wrong, opposite. The one at your hips is going to go sideways. The one that's going to be by your heart is going to go the long way. Now for me, I'm going to do it in the flattest setting. But I've got it going sideways, the long way, where my hips are going to go. So my hip pointers are going to and the pelvis is going to rest here. My heart's going to rest here. So I'm going to come into plank and hover over the blocks to align myself so that when I lower down, my hips are going to be supported by this block, and my heart is going to be supported by this block. So then I can practice just firming up the body, pointing the tailbone straight back behind me, having the back of the neck long rather than looking up or flopping down. So thinking about that line of energy that goes from the tailbone right out through the crown of the head, powering up the legs so you're pressing out through your heels. And then you can just give a little press into the hands and draw the elbows in. So now you can practice that alignment. If your elbows are above your ribs, then that would be a sign that you'd want to turn the blocks to the little bit higher setting and practice like so. It actually works for me to do it like this as well. So you can see the alignment that I have. This is a way to practice Chaturanga. Now, the transition, so you don't have to put so much stress on your shoulders. You can just practice the alignment and see how it feels. To transition into Updog, point the toes, straighten the arms, and draw the heart forward a little bit and the shoulders back. So now you can see, just like if you were doing Updog freestyle, you've got your hips lifted, you've got your thighs lifted, you've got just the tops of the feet and the hands pressing down. And then you can curl the toes under, press down and forward, and take it into downward facing dog. So once again, coming into plank, lowering down Chaturanga, pointing toes, pressing into the tops of the feet, pulling shoulders back, upward facing dog, and then rolling over the toes, downward facing dog. So I'm going to invite you to try that a few times. And those of you who have your video on, I can take a look and see. Those of you who want to be seen, if you don't, that's fine. I'm just going to give you a moment to play with that. Nobody has their video on. And if you have any questions on that, feel free to unmute and ask for another demonstration or ask me to watch you if you like. And even lowering down onto the blocks can be a challenge for some people's upper arms. So maybe trying knee down. Some of you will need to do knee down to get down, and then you can lift the backs, lift the knees once you're lower down and feel grounded. Just remember that you want to draw those upper arms in toward the torso. You don't want to have the elbows sticking out or space in between your arms and your sides of your rib cage. So I hope that little practice with the block is helpful for those of you, even those of you who have been practicing Chaturanga on your own. I can't tell you how many times I have seen people doing it incorrectly, and so we want to undo the habits that keep us, that can be perpetuated without actually having a little practice with the nuts and bolts of it. So hopefully this was helpful as a refresher to those of you who have had Chaturanga as part of your practice. All right. So from here, let's meet again in downward facing dog, and then walk the feet between the hands to come into a forward bend. And we'll do a few more standing poses just to open the hips a little bit. So drop the hips down halfway, reach the hands out to the horizons and up to the sky, coming into chair pose here. Adding a little bit of fire this morning to our practice. Maybe having hands at the heart feels better for you. 2 more deep breaths. And then slowly rise up. Let the hands reach to the sky in extended mountain. And palms come together back to the heart. Turn sideways on your mat the long way with legs open wide, heel to heel, as long as the length of as wide as the length of one of your legs, opening up into your 5-pointed star. Reach the tailbone down into the earth, the crown of the head up to the heavens, and the fingertips open to the horizons. The shoulders soften down away from the ears. So you are in that gesture of embracing the world. We're going to take it into a warrior flow. So as you pivot your feet, make sure that the heel of the foot that's pointing to the side is lined up with the center of the arch of the back foot. Inhale, hands reach to the sky and the palms come together. Exhale, pivot into warrior two, hips open to the long end of your mat. Soften shoulders, reach long right through the heart center. And engage that outer thigh on the bent knee. So I'll mirror you here. It would be your right knee draws toward your pinky toe. Hip pointers open toward me. Inhale, pivot back to five-pointed star. Palms touch overhead. Exhale, warrior two to the other side. And again, energize that bent leg, drawing knee toward pinky toe. Soften shoulders, open heart. And let's flow with breath here. Inhale. Sync up the breath and the movement so the top of the breath is where the palms touch. And the bottom of the exhale is where you land powerfully in your warrior pose, flowing side to side with that Ujjayi breath. The next round, wherever you are in the flow, bring it into adding a dancing warrior. So we get a nice side stretch. So inhale, once you land in your warrior, you'll take another inhale to take dancing warrior. Exhale back into warrior two. Inhale, five-pointed star with the palms touching at the top of the breath. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, dancing or peaceful warrior. Exhale. Warrior two. And so add that sequence into the flow. And maybe you have a variation of warrior two, bringing the back of the hand, bringing your hand to the back of the head, grabbing onto that ridge at the base of the skull, or maybe even taking a bind, bringing your back hand to the front of the opposite hip. So take your expression of your peaceful or dancing warrior, whatever feels fun to you, whatever juices up the stretch for you. One more cycle each side at your own pace, flowing with breath. That's what vinyasa means, connecting postures with breath and mindfulness. And the next time you come to face the right side, or your right knee is bent, straighten your right knee and draw the energy up from the bottoms of your feet all the way up through both legs. Let that drawing energy uplift the kneecaps and engage the thighs, quadriceps, and draw that energy right up through your core to get that core lift, Uddiyana Bandha. And let that energy reach out through your fingertips. We're going to take Konasana. So drop the right hip, lift the left hip, roll the left hip open, firm up your core, stay long in the spine rather than coming into a rounded spine. Long from root to crown, take your expression of triangle pose. Remember, you want to have that arrow-like quality from the tailbone through the crown of your head. Your bottom hand can rest on your shin or back of the hand to the calf. Grow long. Feel how the core supports this. Noticing if you're folding forward from the hip crease and keep the body in one plane between two panes of glass. And then if you want to take it into some other expressions of this, you can reach your upper hand long and away from you toward the right and let your upper arm line up with your ear, long line from your hip to your fingertips, or take it into a bind back behind you, grabbing either back of the hand to the hip, or grab your hip crease and walk your fingers to the inside, grab your thigh, walk your fingers to the inside of your thigh, roll open, look up at the sky, extending long through the crown of the head. And then when you're ready, you can grab that golden cord, let it draw you up. Back into your warrior two, exhale. We'll come right through that 5-pointed star, palms together overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Land on this side. Knee over ankle. And then straighten that front leg. And once again, draw the energy up through the bottoms of the feet, up through the legs, out through the heart center, out the fingertips. And take your triangle pose on this side. Keeping the top hip stacked over the bottom. So the bottom hip actually, hip pointer draws forward a little bit. The top hip rolls back a little bit. And very active in the core. It's not important for you to go all the way down, because often going all the way down causes people to fold forward and let their heart, their torso come out of that one plane that you want your body in. So it's okay to stay a little higher, lifted, supporting yourself on your shin or back of the hand to the calf. Grow long and wide and play with your variations here. Either reaching fingertips, right fingertips to the beyond the left edge of your mat, which is the front of your mat here. And reach back behind, taking your bind. Keep that upper shoulder rolled open. Look up at the sky if it's comfortable for your neck. No strain here. Find the golden cord, let it draw you up and back into your warrior two. Open up 5-pointed star, just reaching your hands out to the horizons, embracing the world. Pivot on the heels, the toes point straight ahead, so the outer edges of your feet are parallel to the short ends of your mat. Come into a half forward bend, long spine from root to crown. And then slowly fold forward into your Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward bend. Connect with your breath. Feel the energizing stretch in the backs of the legs. Spread your sit bones a little wider. Maybe walking your hands forward into a wide leg down dog, if that feels good. Reaching the heart to the center point between the feet. Walking the hands back underneath the shoulders, press up halfway, pivot on the feet so the toes turn out 45, so the heels pivot, toes turn out, soften the knees. I'm going to roll up one vertebra at a time, coming into a soft dancing goddess. Let the outer edges of your thighs reach back behind you, and just take a moment to play as that river of grace fills you up. How does it want to be expressed right now? You're all by yourself in your own space, so there's no need for embarrassment. So anything goes here with your beautiful dancing goddess. So let that river of grace flow through you as creativity. Because as Martha Graham said, there's only one of you in all time. And if you don't let that expression be released, it will be lost forever. So how does Goddess want to come alive in you today? And then when she feels complete with her dance, open up, big breath in, big sun breath with wide legs, palms come together, draw them down to the heart. And heel toe the feet back to hip width apart, and just let yourself have a little moment of shaking it out, releasing that strong sequence that we just did. And what I'm going to invite you to explore now with me is a little balance play. Those of you who find that you feel more supportive with a fingertip against the wall can turn sideways or wherever your wall is in your space and use the wall. Others can do free form. Maybe having blocks beside you here, or just in front. I'm going to move back a little bit here so that you can see me. And let's begin with feet hip-width apart, arms open, wings open, lifting your left knee coming into the crane pose. And let your shoulders relax and elbows and wrists relax. And this might be just enough for you to practice today. With your gaze fixed in a spot where you can anchor your attention. Shoulders remain over hips. Those of you who want to take it into a little more of a hip opener can come into your figure 4 pose, hands at the heart, and take it into a squat balancing pigeon. So you want to externally rotate that thigh so the knee comes, outside of the knee comes down toward the floor. Get into that one-legged chair pose. Press into the palms. Get a little deeper into the squat. Yes, breathe. We're going to come back through crane pose, so open your wings and gracefully lift the knee to hip height. And slowly bring the foot down. Feel the difference between your right side and left side. And we'll take it to the other side. Crane pose, lifting right knee to hip height. Just let the foot dangle. Let the wings be soft and graceful. Full of grace. Some of you who are more challenged with your balance will find that being a crane that dips the toe in the water here and there will help support you in this pose. And those of you who are ready to take it into that balancing pigeon, figure 4 squat, juicy hip opener, glute stretch, challenging leg strengthener. Yeah. Get a little deeper into that squat. See if you can find one more movement that juices it up a little bit more. Breathe deep. And then slowly open your wings back to your crane. Steady yourself in crane before coming into a graceful landing. We're going to take that one more possibility here. I'm going to give you an option to either come into a yogi's choice balance. So some of you who are working with more basic balance poses might want to do tree pose. Or if you want to come back into that balancing pigeon and do a folding over the standing leg. Those of you who want to do that can try that with me. Maybe taking either your blocks beside you or one block in front of you. Coming into first crane, taking it into the figure 4, getting deep into the squat. And then from here, fold over the legs and either press into the block, maybe bringing it flatter depending on what you need. And just keep the torso and the standing and your figure 4 legs nice and close. You do not want to lock the knee of the standing leg. Keep a micro bend there. Fold in nice and close. Draw your nose toward your shin or your knee. And then if you want to play with bringing one hand behind the calf and then the other hand behind the calf, so you're free balancing here, play with whether that's available to you. Fold in nice and close. And then coming back the way you came, right into your balancing pigeon, up through crane, and take it in for a landing. Oh yeah, shake out that standing leg. And we'll try it on the other side. Crane. Focus your gaze in front of you a few feet. Take it into your balance pigeon. Get down deep into it, and then fold over. Maybe just fingertips to the floor will be all you need. Fold in nice and close without locking the knee. Not a deep bend, just an unlocking, micro bend. And then if it's available, hands can come, one hand or both hands behind the calf. Maybe you'll need to lift your head a little bit so that you center change your center of gravity a little bit here. You can explore what works best for you. And when you're ready to release, you're going to come back right through that pigeon squat. Open up into your crane. And come into your landing and shake out the other leg. Beautiful. And from here, come into Dandasana, the staff pose, just a seated position with legs extended, hands underneath the shoulders, feet flexed, legs energized. You want to keep, in all of these postures, there is an invitation to come back to letting your spine be that riverbed, long and unimpeded, so that river of grace that is your life energy can flow through you without obstacles. Keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips and the spine long. Slide your right foot in, your right heel in toward your right sitting bone. You can either keep the foot right here inside the thigh, or you can cross over for a little more challenging practice. Bring the heel close to the opposite hip, and the outside edge of your right foot close to your left thigh. Wrap your left arm around, and let that hugging in give you the opportunity to lengthen up through the crown of your head. And you're going to reach the right hand right in front of you and follow your gaze. Keep your gaze on the middle finger, just like we do for Warrior Two. As you follow it around back behind you, straight back behind you, and then bring that hand down. Fingers point back, press into the palm to give you a little lift. Hug that that right thigh in toward your belly, lift and lengthen, root to crown, and deepen into the twist on the exhale. Take 2 more deep breaths here. Lengthening on the inhale, deepening into the twist on the exhale. Unwind. And here, we can come into, for those of you who may not have found it available to do the balancing pigeon squat, here we can come into a cradle the baby, which gives that same kind of hip opener and glute stretch here. So find your access to cradle the baby, keeping centered on your sit bones and lifted in the spine. Some of you might find that bringing your elbow underneath the lower leg and pressing away with the right hand inside the knee juices it up a little bit. So come into your expression of cradle the baby, hugging that lower leg close in toward your heart, giving your baby some love. Breathe into any tight places where there's restriction or strong sensation. As if you could send with your awareness and your breath that healing river of prana right there where it's needed. And then the sole of the right foot comes inside the left thigh. Lengthen up through the spine. Take a little turn so the navel faces your left knee. Reach up and exhale, fold over that leg into Jhana Shoshanna, head to knee pose. Keep long in the spine and lead with the heart. Reaching the crown of the head toward the front of your mat. You can grab either your shin, your ankle, your foot, your toes. Feel a nice stretch in the hamstring and in the low back. Whole spine lengthens. Keep the chin slightly tucked so you remain long in the back of your neck. One more breath here. Slide the hands back. So you come back into Dandasana, staff pose, centered on your sitting bones. And slide the left heel in toward the sit bone, bending the knee, either keeping it here or crossing over. Hug with the left arm, nice and close. And reach the left hand straight in front of you. Follow that middle finger with your gaze all around back behind you. And place it down. Pressing into the palm to invite length. Softening shoulders down, open heart. 3 deep breaths here. With that soft ujjayi brushing the back of the throat. Unwinding from your twist, take it into cradle the baby. And that right leg can be extended, or if it feels more comfortable, you can have it in a soft bend. But you just want to stay centered on your sit bones, so you're not going into Slumpasana here. Hug your baby in nice and close, give it some love, and let the toes come a little closer to your opposite shoulder. So ideally, we want that shin bone parallel to the floor. Hug it in nice and close until you feel the juice. And whatever variations you played with on the other side, right here. And we'll transition from here into Jhana. So now the right leg is going to extend, toes point up. You're going to bring the sole of your left foot to the inside, kind of like in a tree position, but you're seated. Lift up, take a little turn so that the navel faces the knee, and take it into the forward bend that feels available to you here. Every in-breath lengthening, every out-breath as melting into the forward bend. Reaching the crown of the head forward, back of the neck long. One more breath. And releasing Jhana. Straighten both legs and just shake them out. Bend the knees. I'm just turning sideways, but you just stay facing where you are. Feet flat, knees pointed up. Turn the palms up. Grace is always pouring down on us. All we need to do is to remember to cup our hands. So keeping your upturned palms cupped slowly and your feet pressed into the mat. roll down one vertebra at a time. Tuck the chin, one vertebra at a time, roll down onto the mat until your shoulders come down, back of the head comes down, hug your knees in. Whatever feels good here, rocking side to side or taking happy baby. I'm going to give you a moment of yogi's choice. So some of you may want to take an inversion here, either just legs up in the air or taking it into full shoulder stand plow sequence, or just placing the feet on the mat again and rolling up into your bridge pose, either supported or freestyle. So take this as a moment to check in with what your body is needing right now. Maybe what is called for you, or some nice twists. Maybe if you feel a little stronger need to juice up your abdomen, you can take some leg lifts, but remember, we're in our winding down phase, so not too much fire here. Take it into your own few moments of exploration. You're all experienced yogis. And if you're doing something that is on one side, like a twist, this would be a good time to switch to the other side. And taking your time, I invite you to transition into a supine bound angle, Supta Baddha Konasana, where you can just lie down on your mat and let the soles of the feet come together and the knees splay out like letting your legs make a diamond shape. For a lovely hip opener and stretch in the inner thighs. And if it feels too strong a stretch for your hips or thighs, you can place blocks underneath, or even just let your fists come underneath. Or a rolled up towel, whatever it is that can help you really relax and release into this. Nothing that you need to do here or push on, but simply surrender into the pose. And to keep connected with that sacred rhythm of our breath, you can either bring both hands to your low belly, where the breath begins as the low belly rises and expands. And then you might notice the belly flattening a little bit as the ribs widen, as you lift the breath into the rib cage, and then finally feeling the breath moving up into the chest, sort of to surround the heart. Maybe it'll feel good for you to have one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. And some of you might just want to have your hands down by your sides, palms open, cupping your hands to receive. With eyes closed and lips closed and a soft ujjayi brushing the back of the throat. Let each in-breath be an opening to that river of grace that is universal life force, that is divine energy. And every exhale, letting your own sense of separateness dissolve into that flowing river. Your own identity with which you move through the world will be there when you need it, so you don't need to worry. But for right now, the invitation is to begin to soften those edges of who you think you are. And let yourself become that flowing river of divine energy. Let it light up every cell. Let it come streaming in to all of those 72,000 nadis. Every in-breath opening to that river of grace. Every out-breath dissolving into it. Vasudevaya. I bow, I honor, I offer myself to that divine energy that lives within the heart of every being. If you are enjoying staying here in the supine bound angle, you can stay here for the remainder of your practice. Otherwise, you can take your hands to the outside of your thighs and draw your knees in towards center. And then stretch your legs out into Shavasana for a few moments. integrating that river of prana. Palms turned up, and just let the breath find its natural rhythm.
Slowly beginning to deepen your breath. Bring some movement into your fingers and into your toes. Any movements that bring you back into your body, into present time. And rolling over onto one side. Take a moment to pause there in the fetal position before bringing yourself to a yogic seat. And once again, as you come into your yogic seat, turn the palms up. Backs of the hands rest on the thighs, spine is long. Remembering that there is that current of life energy, of love energy that flows from the earth below to the sun above. And your spine is the riverbed. May the light of love glow in me. May the breath of spirit blow in me. May the river of grace flow through me. May God's work unfold through me. And bringing the hands together in prayer position, Anjali Mudra. Today, may we keep that channel open and let it move through us in all the beautiful and unique ways that we love and serve in the world. Let's close our practice with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Namaste.